This is Plant-Based Briefing. Is the novascore accurate about processed vegan protein? Part 1 by the VegNews editors at VegNews.com. And I'm Marian Erickson, host of this curated content plant-based podcast, where I narrate articles on healthy, compassionate, and sustainable living with permission in about 10 minutes or less every weekday. And this article would be longer than that, so I've broken it into 2 parts. I'll read part 1 today, and then tune back in tomorrow for the second half. So now let's get to today's plant-based briefing. Is the novascore accurate about processed vegan protein? Part 1 by the VegNews editors at VegNews.com. Where do popular vegan protein sources rank on the NOVA classification for ultraprocessed foods? You're being lied to about ultraprocessed foods, reads a recent Vox headline linked here. The article explores a study widely reported on over the summer linking ultraprocessed meat substitutes to an increased risk of heart attacks and strokes. Vegan fake meats linked to heart disease, early death, wrote the New York Post. For a diet generally linked to reduced risks for heart disease, the findings were shocking and, according to Vox, untrue. Just 0.2% of calories across the sample came from meat alternatives. The bulk of the plant-based ultra-processed calories instead came from what the authors describe as industrialized packaged breads, pastries, buns, and cakes, and biscuits, better known in the U.S. as cookies, foods that have little to do with plant-based meats or other specialty vegan products. The new generation of vegan burgers, including Impossible and Beyond Burgers, did not yet exist when the data was collected between 2009 and 2012. University of Sao Paulo researcher Fernanda Rauber, lead author of the study, told Vox that given the small caloric contribution, the researchers can't draw any meaningful conclusions about plant-based meat alternatives specifically. Claims about heart attack risk don't align with the American Heart Association either. In 2023, the organization awarded its Heart Check certification to Beyond Meat's Beyond Steak, marking the first time a plant-based meat product received this endorsement. This certification indicates that Beyond Steak meets American Heart Association's nutritional criteria for heart-healthy foods, including considerations for saturated fat, cholesterol, and sodium content. Later that year, Impossible Foods' Impossible Beef Light also earned the Heart Check certification, becoming the second plant-based meat product to receive this recognition. Still, ultra-processed foods, or UPFs, are under increasing scrutiny for their potential health risks, yet public understanding of what constitutes ultra-processed remains murky. The term, coined by nutrition researchers, categorizes foods based on their level of industrial processing. The researchers at the University of Sao Paulo in Brazil developed the NOVA classification system, which categorizes foods into 4 groups based on the extent and purpose of their processing. Introduced in 2009, it aims to help consumers and policymakers understand the nutritional impact of ultra-processed foods, Group 4, compared to minimally processed or whole foods, Group 1. But these broad classifications often group wholesome plant-based proteins alongside genuinely unhealthy options, creating confusion for consumers. This misrepresentation underscores the need for better public understanding of minimally processed foods versus UPFs. While the NOVA classification system offers some clarity, its broad groupings often miscategorize long-standing vegan staples like tofu and tempeh as UPFs. Harvard nutrition expert Walter Willett observed, "Some of the plant-based alternatives to meat are quite a bit healthier, it looks like, than the actual beef or pork that people are consuming." The NOVA classification. The NOVA classification system divides foods into 4 categories based on their level of processing. Group 1 includes whole or minimally processed items such as fresh fruits and vegetables, whole grains, legumes, nuts, milk, and unprocessed cuts of meat. Group 2 comprises processed culinary ingredients like oils, butter, lard, sugar, and salt, typically used in cooking and food preparation. Group 3 encompasses processed foods which are made by combining items from Groups 1 and 2, such as baked breads, homemade desserts, and sautéed dishes. And Group 4, known as ultra-processed foods, consists of industrial formulations that rely on additives like dyes, flavorings, emulsifiers, and certain sugars like fructose that are uncommon in home kitchens. Minimally processed vegan protein sources. The classification of foods by processing level provides a framework, but it is far from perfect. Many vegan proteins labeled as UPFs are not only nutritionally sound, but also more sustainable than animal-based options. Brands like Beyond Meat and Impossible Foods, though technically in Nova Group 4, offer alternatives with lower saturated fat and a fraction of the carbon footprint of beef. So where do popular vegan protein sources fall on the UPF scale, and which branded products offer the best options? Lentils, Nova Group 1. Lentils, a dietary staple worldwide, are classified as unprocessed or minimally processed, Nova Group 1. A single cooked cup provides 17.9 grams of protein along with fiber, iron, and folate. They require no additives or industrial processes, making them a top-tier vegan protein. For convenience, brands like Eden Foods offer organic canned lentils with no added preservatives, ensuring minimal processing without sacrificing nutritional value. Chickpeas, Nova Group 1. Chickpeas or garbanzo beans are another Nova Group 1 food, delivering approximately 14.5 grams of protein per cooked cup. They're available in various forms, from dried beans to minimally processed canned options. Well-known brands like Goya and Trader Joe's offer chickpeas in BPA-free packaging, making it easier for consumers to incorporate this protein-rich legume into their diets. Like lentils and chickpeas, all other pulses will also fall under the Nova 1 category, unless they've undergone some processing. Baked beans, for example, would fall under Group 3. Quinoa, Nova Group 1. Quinoa, often referred to as a superfood, is a minimally processed, complete protein. With 8 grams of protein per cooked cup and all 9 essential amino acids, quinoa stands out among grains, but it's biologically a seed. It is harvested, cleaned, and packaged without additives, keeping it firmly in Nova Group 1. For quality quinoa, brands like Bob's Red Mill and Alter Eco provide organic, fair trade options that align with sustainable practices. You just listened to Is the novascore accurate about processed vegan protein? Part 1 by the VegNews editors at VegNews.com. And I'm your host, Marian Erickson. And I find it interesting in general, the whole Nova classification system, with Group 2 being processed culinary ingredients like oils. Oils are one of the worst processed foods. Going with Dr. Greger's definition, unprocessed means nothing bad added, nothing bad taken away. With oils, the good is taken away and the bad is left. But the Nova score leaves oils in Group 2. Interesting. Tune in tomorrow for the second half of this article, where you'll hear some doozies, how things like tofu and tempeh are misclassified as ultra-processed foods. So tune in tomorrow for that, and please share this episode with anyone who might benefit, and thanks for listening.